Dragon Ball Xeno Multiverse. It's unfortunate that this game is this low. If you would have asked me 2 years ago, I would have put it a lot higher, but what's holding this game back so much is that it's been the same game for 2 years. Like, nothing has changed. The dev has just re-released it every single time. He's closed the game for a year. Hasn't really changed much and then re-released it. I in fact think the initial release is so much better. And it's because it had actual content you could do. Quests, grinding, like it has that now. But it also had the same thing 2 years ago, so there wasn't really a reason to change anything or close the game. And what all this has like come up as is just like, it's just like the dev's personal, I guess like in-game power fantasy, because that's like essentially what it is. He gives everyone that's close to him like these OP forms and then streams stuff like that. And then everyone has to grind a literal, I'm not joking, like days just to get a form, which is fine, but dude, like the forms look like garbage and they're boring. So yeah, it's just unfortunate this game is how it is right now, so that's why it's this low. Dragon Blox GT is also this low because it's just, there's nothing to do in the game. You literally just grind stats for forms and that's it. There's no bosses. You also don't have a face half the time, as you see. I literally don't have a face. And then you just grind forms that look like every other form in every other Dragon Ball game, essentially. Like, it's just like, what are you doing? So yeah, it's just a short ranking for a short game. I don't even want to talk about this anymore. Let's move on. Yep, this is Dragon Ball Z Tycoon. I'm not joking. So I think you know why it's this low. I just want to include it as a joke because I've always joked about making a video on this game, and well, here it is. So Dragon Ball Z Tycoon. It's really funny, but don't play it. You're not gonna get anything out of it. But unless, I mean, if you want to be Goku or like a Dragon Ball character. So Dragon Ball N. This is basically just a PvP game. There is some grinding to it, like you can unlock forms that help you get stronger at the PvP more, but like it doesn't take you long to get to the very end. And once you do, it is just PvP. And the only like hard things to grind is the shop, because you have to like kill other players to get all these points to buy stuff, which essentially it is just more PvP. And if you watch me, you know I primarily play things just to grind them and enjoy the game. I don't really particularly like PvP because I think Roblox PvP in general is really bad. There's only some games that pull it off well, and I haven't got into it, so I can't say this is one of them or isn't one of them. But I'll never know because I just can't really. I don't like Roblox PvP. It truly pains me to put Dragon Blox Ultimate this low. Because, man, did the new dev get a hold of this game and they said they were gonna make it good, but oh my gosh, these updates, man, they're all just like a boss with more stats. Like the bosses barely have any moves, and they're all the same to other old bosses. However, the reason it isn't lower is because the forms and the evil and good side I think is cool, but the main reason was that recently they said they were going to fix the leveling system, which is amazing because this game is like repetitively boring. Some repetition can be fun when games have made it fun, but this just, I don't think it's fun when you have to rebirth and it's harder to rebirth the next time. In fact, it should be easier to rebirth the next time, or like the higher level you rebirth, the more of a boost you get, whatever. But just like make a system that like complements the player to like making them play more and wanting to play more instead of forcing them to play more to unlock stuff. Because forcing them to play more is just be like, oh, once I get this form or this rebirth, I'm just gonna quit because why would I play anymore, right? It's not fun and I already got everything I wanted. Dragon Ball Z Final Stand. Now this is the game I spent the most time on, definitely, overall. Like, it's not even close. Like, if we combined all of the other Dragon Ball games together, I would still have more time on this game. But I rank it this low because it's a very obvious reason. Dude, the game doesn't get updates anymore. And usually it doesn't matter, but it's been literal years since the game has last gotten an update, and the main dev, Stank Girl, keeps saying he's going to release an update, but let's be honest, it's not gonna happen. The remaster isn't coming. It's not real. It's never gonna happen because he doesn't need it. But now onto the game itself. The game just, it is infected with exploiters, and what I mean is people that script. It's very annoying to go into a lobby and then you just get one shot by like a level 500 that is infinite statted, and what I mean is like they used the, I believe it was Kami, so they could infinitely stack the Kami boost within the Mechian slot onto a different slot and just get infinite amount of stats, and it's just like, well, okay, you ruined the whole point of the game. Now why play? You have like all the stats you want, everything you want. What's the point? Plus, it's just like, it's very outdated, and you can very see it. Like, look at it. It's very basic, bare bones. There's not much to it anymore. It's just, you beat up this quest, go there, rinse and repeat. Just different visuals. It's very intuitive though. That's my favorite thing about this game. Is it's very creative. It's extremely creative. But it doesn't hold up anymore. If you would have asked me when I started playing, I'd say it was the best one, but it's been 4 years since then. So it's a long time. Now before we move on to the next tier, I want to talk about the bog. This is a weird one. I don't like this game. I've played it quite a bit, as you see. I have Legendary Super Saiyan, and I have another like max level Frieza ult that's key damage. But dude, it is, I just do not like the combat. It's like Xenoverse, right? But it's just awful. And when I'm hitting an NPC, it feels like I'm just hitting like a paper like dummy, like something that doesn't really exist. It's cool that it has multiple worlds, and I think this is really neat. But it's like, is this not Final Stand? Is this not the game that I just talked about previously? This looks exactly like Earth. Exactly how you traverse space in that game. So I can't rank this game any higher. It's so unfortunate because it's pretty ambitious for what it was, but the dev also just like doesn't really seem to care all that much. Took a long break and then came back and has barely changed anything. So here we are. Path to Power, or in its past known as Dragon Ball Z Final Hope. This game, if you didn't know, was originally inspired by Final Stand, but it has outgrew that. It's its own thing now, and it is, in my opinion, the most ambitious one at the moment. The dev updates very often and is very active in the Discord. But there's just one thing that really annoys me. And I mainly play this game on my alt account, so as you see here, I'm level 2, but my alt, I didn't get like crazy far into the game when I first released. I got Super Saiyan, I got bored because of one thing, is enemies power creep you so drastically. It's one of those games where I remember playing, I did a full damage build, so I was like, alright, I'm gonna do big damage, right, but I'll die quickly, and that's fine, I was pretty good. But I ended up dying quickly, of course, but I wasn't doing that much damage at all, actually. I was doing about the same damage as a full HP build, and I was wondering, well, what the actual flip did. Why? And it's because the scaling for damage sucks. It's actually terrible. And like the more you play, the weaker you get. Like mobs just get more health because this health scaling is so high, and since the damage is scaling so low, you will slowly start doing less and less damage. Quests start taking more and more longer, and then you kill things way too slow. And if you're a damage build, you can't afford that because you have no health, and it just ends up being this slog of a game that you don't want to play. Now, the reason why I put it up here, even after that rant, is because that is totally avoidable with putting in health points. You can avoid that entire situation by putting in health, and also because it's a very active game, and it seems that it'll get a lot more updates in the future. So if you're looking for a relatively new Dragon Ball game with races, which it does have, by the way, then this is the one for you. I don't particularly enjoy it. I don't like the combat, but hey, maybe you might like it. Dragon Blocks. Also, Super Saiyan Simulator 2. Essentially the same thing. That was what this was before this. But so This game is cool. You go through quests now. It used to be just like grind stats and mobs for stats to unlock forms, but now there's actually like form requirements, so you have to like master a previous form to get a new form, which I think is pretty neat. On top of that, you gotta like do all these different quests now, and there's a bunch of these raid boss stuff, so it's really has come quite far from what it used to be. The only issue with it is a personal issue, and it's just that I do not like the color palette. Like, when I look at this, I get nausea. I don't know why. Well, I do know why. It's the color palette. Also, the combat isn't too great, but it works. You know, you got your swing, you got your moves. You can charge up the moves for more damage and bigger range, and you can upgrade moves to do like different effects, like a longer duration, shorter cooldowns, and more damage. So that's really, really neat. It's a very interesting game. I wouldn't put it any higher than this though, because it just is kind of basic, but hey, sometimes it works. This game has been very, very awaited. It was in the works for so long, so hyped. I remember like I started playing Final Stand and this game was like getting like hyped. It's been a long time this game has been coming, and about a year-ish ago it released, and it's been just like PvP. So, you know I don't like PvP. And then this is like the least PvP. It's just like survival. You just fight Cybermen, or not Cybermen, Cell Juniors, and survive. You know, now that I think about it, I don't know why I put it up this high, but here it is. I don't like the graphics. It reminds me of Xeno Multiverse, and it's not a good reminder. It is interesting though with the form cycling. I didn't even know about that until now. I really don't have much to say on this game. I wish it was supposed to be what it was. An open world RPG of epic fun and joy, and it's just like this PvP thing that 1,000 people play, but I'm not one of those, so yeah. Super Evolution is a stat grinding game done right. It looks visually amazing. It's not like a crazy amount of grinding, and it's like they give you quests. It's like what every stat grinding should strive to be. Besides one. We'll talk about that one later. That one is even better. So, you get these heroes. They help you get better stats. And you get these heroes by opening up capsules. And capsules you get like with points from like raids and whatnot, and just doing quests and collecting chests. So, pretty cool. There's also these AFK zones that give you more stats. So, you can just like, it does encourage AFKing, so it's neat to see that. And it also helps you see where all the zones are at with the map board. Very nice. Essentially, it's a super cozy, comfortable game, and you'll probably enjoy it. And if you want to fight a boss, there is multiple bosses. There's two. There's the Great Ape fight, which is here, and then there's the Frieza fight, which is in Namek. But Namek you don't get until like much later, so you won't go there for quite a while. Dragon Ball Evolution, man, what a shame, dude. It should be so much higher, but it's unfortunately not. My biggest issue is that it has been the same for the past couple years now. You can still fly into the map. All the visuals are pretty much similar. Things that are different are the animations. The animations are cool, but like dude, like starting out and playing through the game is so boring. Like all the in-game content right now is fine, but going through the game as a new player has got to be some of the most like boring things you can do on this platform. Leveling with quests, like all the level quests are level locks, so you have to do the other quests prior to actually go to the next ones. And there's no other side content. Like it would be fine if there was like these other quest lines to unlock, like moves, whatnot, right? These secret things that are super cool and make the game funner. But there's not, and there's not any secret bosses like that either through the early game. It's just leveling, which no one's really gonna do, and people that are playing this game currently are just the same old players. So it's unfortunate to see like no one new come into the community because of the level locked questing. Wish I could say more about this game because it's what got my channel going pretty much, but well, I can't. It's unfortunate, and I sincerely hope they fix the early game because that's the biggest issue with the game right now. It might like shock or like surprise some of you to see this game up this high, but I actually kind of really like this game. It was so different from all the other games. It was stack grinding, but there was also like these like rare boss spawns by killing a different boss. It really surprised me to see all these quest lines, especially the Beerus bit. The Beerus bit where he comes in as you complete like the Whis quest was really cool. And also this game doesn't even have that much grinding. You just like, yeah, you can AFK stats, but like it's mostly just grinding Zenny for power capsules, which you get from like killing bosses and just like literally doing tops. It's quite cool that by playing the game just like normally, casually, you'll max out pretty quickly. The only really difficult thing is actually like waiting for boss spawns and then mastering Ultra Instinct, which you just do in the God Chamber with Mirrors, so and it only takes like 2 hours, so it's not even that bad. Yeah, a very unexpected game. I didn't really expect when I started playing it to really like it a lot, but here I am, I loved it, so it's up this high for me. Now, Dragon Ball Rage is also a pretty old Dragon Ball game, but the devs have actually been very active, and the rework has made this game insanely cool. It's visually eye candy, it's fun to play, it feels really nice, the controls are really good, and it's like, it's worth collecting. Like it rewards you for going out of your way to collect stuff with XP boosts, damage boosts, and all this cool things, like energy stuff. And then the boss drops also aren't like awful. They're like 5% at the, no, 3% is the worst one, that's Gogeta, Fusion Vest, but it's Gogeta, so I mean Fusion Vest makes sense, right? And it's not even the best one. Like the best things are the Majin Cape, which you get from the daily shop, and the Broly's like waistcloth, which you get as a 20% drop from Broly himself. And this is the better stat grind game. You do grind stats, but there's often events, and you can get a lot of XP from killing bosses, so you can occupy yourself in the meantime with collecting things, and by the time you get max level, well, you have everything. There is one thing I don't like, and it's the 40 from Zenkai 45 to 50. You need the Dragon Balls, but it's not awful if you're in a public and you know the spots. You can just go pick them up because they spawn every 20 minutes. So it's nice that it incentivizes playing in the public versus a private, because a private's an hour spawn each time. On top of Piccolo's, which is like a 4-hour spawn, but you know, that's that. The absolute only thing holding this game back from being like in my favorite spot is the combat. The moves are cool, I don't mind the moves, it's mostly just the basic combat. There's no way to really like avoid hits, like strafe around them with a melee. You can do it with Ki, but you can do all that with Ki in almost every game you play. It's nothing really special. If they make melee, you know, more complex, I guess, was what I'm trying to say, I put it higher. But for now, let's move on to the top 2, in my opinion. This game, Dragon Ball Final Mastered, is a beast of a game. So to start out, you have multiple races. There's a new one, Jiren race. Then there's Arcosian, Human, Saiyan, Piccolo, and Majin. Also Android. Now, what is the coolest feature that I think is honestly the coolest thing I've ever seen in a Dragon Ball game is that you can switch between them at any time you want. There is no like repercussions for doing so. The only like hard like race to switch to is Android, but the only reason it's somewhat difficult is I think it's because it's 500,000 Zenny. It might be 150. It might just be 150. I remember it being 500k, but it might have been changed. This game is actually just visually amazing. The form animations are incredible, and then you have this good and evil system too, and then as we see here, the boss drops. Now the drops are kind of bad, but the respawn timers aren't too crazy, and the worlds is also massive. You have Earth, Namek, and this is Otherworld. You get to Otherworld by, I believe, the first time when you die, you can come here, and then the second time, if you want to come back, you talk to Baba Yaga, and she takes you here. And this also has the Kai World too on top of it, where you fight Majin Buu, another raid boss. So it's pretty neat. A common mistake I think a lot of people make is that the reason why this game isn't as played as it is isn't because of the grinding. I think the grinding is fine. There isn't like as much as a lot think. It's mostly the performance issues, because a lot of people on Roblox play on their phone or with like laptops, and this game it literally says it requires a decent PC to run. So you can't really do that. It's unfortunate because I think it's an amazing game and deserves more love, but oof, right? What can you do? So let's move on to the last one. So the last one is Dragon Soul. This has the best animations, like not just for forms. The form animations are not the best. I think there's better ones like Final Remastered and Dragon Ball Rage and even Evolution. But what I mean is boss animations, boss movesets, and NPC animations, and quest animations. A lot of effort was put into the animation system, and it's really rare to see in a Dragon Ball game. It's just nice for the quality of life that they have. It's also really visually pleasing. It's not too much. It has a more cartoony look. It is a Roblox game, but games like Final Stand, Final Remaster have a more like actual like anime look, you could say. You have a lot of moves you can use. You get moves from mentors or just by leveling up. It's nothing too crazy. They cause Zenny, but you get a lot of Zenny by just doing the same quests and killing NPCs, so, you know, there's that. It's not too hard. You master forms by being in them, and there's a form mastery trainer in the HTC, which is free, by the way. And you just do it like once a day. You get 10% on your training for the form. You also can stack Kaioken on forms too. So that's neat. You get it from King Kai in Otherworld at the end of the Snake Way. And before you do that, you gotta do a puzzle, which I think is really neat. There is one thing I don't like. It's the flying. You do so much flying in this game. It's actually crazy. You have to fly to so many places. Sometimes literally like 12k meters, not kilometers, across the map. It's utterly insane. It's a bit crazy, but it's kind of sucks. It's not. There's no but. It just sucks. Oh yeah, also the boss drops. Some of the boss drops can be... Some of them can be bad. I know like Super Saiyan Rage when I grinded for it was like 2% or 4%. Something ridiculous like that. And the bosses don't like respawn instantly. Well, that's a lie. They do. You can respawn them instantly if you leave and rejoin a private server. Or reset the private server. But a lot of people don't know that. So it would suck if you didn't know that and have to grind it all out. So yeah, that was my rankings, I think, overall. For the games, if I did like a personal ranking right now, it'd be Dragon Ball Rage, Final Remastered, and then like Dragon Soul. I mean, Dragon Soul or Final Stand. I like Final Stand still, but I know it's not a good game anymore. It's so outdated. Also, I did not forget the roleplay games. It's just that I don't really think they're like actual genuine Dragon Ball games. They're just roleplay games with Dragon Ball aspect. They're like a lobby. I don't really consider them a game. That might sound weird, but if you want to hear my honest opinion on them, I think it'd be like could be better or great, because I'm not in the roleplay, so not my type of thing. But you know, you might be, or others might be, so there's that. Anyways, yep, that was my ranking for the Dragon Ball games. This took, honestly, it wasn't even that bad. It's just, man, some of these games, going back and looking at the old footage and ranking them, makes you wish for more out of some of them. It's unfortunate, right, that some of these just don't get updates, or that like what we want as players doesn't get answered. Unfortunate. Anyways, if you have different opinions that differ, please let me know in the comments. Tell me like your list. This is my list essentially. So, yep, that's it, bro. I'll see you guys.